Turn-based tactic, one of the oldest video game genres, has been exists since the humble beginning of the media. There are many games of this genres across many platforms, and with the appear of mobile, it's not hard to see that developers and publishers started to making games for this youngest platform.
Did you guys all have phones?
Yeah, you guys all have phones, right?
From the 2000s to early 2010s, the mobile market started to rise exponentially with the introduction of smartphones and tablets. While there are some good games here and there, the mobile platform was still being considered to be a side platform at that point, filled with bunch of low-effort games or games that were made just to try to squeeze as much money as possible. And some ports have already released titles which, in some occasions, worse than the original versions. But with the rise of recent Chinese video game industry for the past couple of years, mainly gacha and mobile games, the platform sees a wave of games with high production value. Coming along with this is the XCOM-ish strategy games. Currently, there are three main competitors: Girls Frontline 2 Exilium by Mica Team, Sunborn, Core Fusion by Lightwedge, and Project Nightingale by Billy Game. GFL2. After the positive first closed beta test and the rough second closed beta test, they haven't said anything much since then. Core Fusion. They dropped a PV, showed the game in 2.5D, fuck off to somewhere for more than half a year. Reappeared with a recruitment post, in which showed the game to be fully rendered in 3D graphic, and basically disappeared to somewhere else again. Project Nightingale. They first appeared during Billy Game 2021 new product conference, showing some stuff and nothing since then. As you can see, the roster is doing pretty well. But there could have been the fourth one. Enter Moe Fantasy, the Chinese game developer of Warship Girls, one of the first noticeable mobile games from China. A Warship Girls R spin-off called Mirage of Steel Blue, and the recent release last year, Clover Theater. But we are here today not to talk about those titles. We are going to talk about a cancelled project. The date when the project started it's unclear, but according to an employee that got involved in the project and the codename, it's safe to say that it started around 2016. Speaking of employees, we should first take a look at some known people who worked on this project. There are only a handful of them showed up to the public. Rhineheim, an artist who became Moe Fantasy employee on July 2018 to work on the project, took part in 3D modeling, creating concepts. Most of the information we have about the game coming from him with a series of Weibo posts, which recently, for some reasons, he deleted all of them. 15K, and well-known artist in Warship Girls R, while he doesn't publicly show up anymore, he was mentioned by Rhineheim for doing some concept arts. YUKKURIKAZE, aka CRC 505, NorthAbyssor, Windforcelan also released a bit of their works in the project. According to Rhineheim, Project 03 was planned to be simulation video game, similar to XCOM or Valkyria Chronicles or Fire Emblem. The overall direction, art style and aesthetic of the game would be steampunk, complete with building, vehicles, uniform and weapons based off around the Victoria and World War I era. It's unclear what the player was planned to be. Now, with the project like this in the market that didn't have much competitors at the time, the conditions for a successful title at that time were pretty relaxing compared to today's market. If they managed to pull this off, it would be a big win. And they didn't. So, what happened during the development? Not much information, but we can say for sure that something went wrong. Rhineheim said that, during his time working on the game, from 2018 to 2019 to be exact, there was not a single meeting on the art team. And when he got those files that were done by previous people, there wasn't a single documentation about anything. No planning, no specific details or exact requirement for the art style of the game assets, no world building, nothing about the lore of the game. Even 3D process and technical stuff is nowhere to be found. CRC 505 also added into the pile, in a quote tweet of one of Rhineheim's posts on Weibo. He said that, the producer was a piece of shit, didn't even make a decent demo, skip art salary, and screwed up R, possibly referred to Warship Girls R. Keep in mind that we don't know who this producer is, but we can speculate that there had been mismanagements within the team. The later part is the most interesting and kinda confusing here, since it seems to imply that something happened between Warship Girls R and Project 03. Probably some internal events occurred and they were not allowed to talk about. That quote tweet was edited later on, with less aggressive tone. It's a pity that it was screwed up very often. 5 or 6 artists who participated in the design felt it was a pity. The armor, referred to Rhineheim work in the original tweet, was designed with great care. The reason for this change in tone is unknown, but CRC 505 still implied that the team had been screwed up during the development of this game. After that, he stated, "I don't want to remember this period at all." NorthAbyssor made a comment that it was hard to develop Project 03 while running Warship Girls R. It's pretty reasonable when the number of employees I could find is about 150 at most. When you compare that number to, say, Sunborn and MiHoYo, you really see. Develop a full new original 3D turn-based tactic game, not traditional platforms, but mobile, while running your current gacha game. Meanwhile, you are developing another gacha game that didn't release until 2021 for God's sake. This also came with the fact that from 2015 to 2016, you were at war with the publisher of your current gacha game, and it heavily impacted your revenue and player base in a long run. The turn-based tactics Steampunk game finally ran out of steam. Project 03 was cancelled in December 2019. To keep Warship Girls, information about the game, even the existence of it, was only allowed to be revealed to the public in 2021. Well, the rest of this video will be showcase of all the concept arts, assets, artworks that were released to the public. Since the main point of doing this video is to preserve these stuff from lost in time, this even more needed after Rhineheim purged every posts about Project 03. Okay, so, before I go, if you want to get your hands on those contents that I am about to show, I have a link in the description so you can personally download them with few extra stuffs.